Allah Almighty says no one is going beyond those horizons except that Allah Almighty wills, except that Allah Almighty gives the knowledge, except that Allah Almighty allows certain ones to do what He wills them to do. They cannot do it on their own. There must be an intercession. There must be an intercessor. None of us can reach anything on our own. None of us created ourselves. We don't even know why we were created. We go on our jobs, we go to school and we get our jobs and we live our lives and we travel around and we read books and we don't have a clue why we're here. We don't know who we are and whose we are. Those people whom Allah Almighty sent to them the Old Testament, 124,000 prophets plus beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all of those people, the people of the Orient, they have gotten so far away from the respect of beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they say that it's shirk. They say that it's shirk. If you go visit his tomb, you go up there to his tomb and you're holding on and you're feeling the vibrations of his heart. Allah says in Quran, those who die never believe, not dead. You just don't perceive it. Well, what about prophets? They're not like ordinary righteous people. And beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his station is more than anybody's station. No one can't reach his station. That conversation that he has with beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is an ongoing conversation. We said the Quran is in the present continuous. That means it was for that time, this time, and forever time. But in reality, it's continually being unfolded. Islam is continually being unfolded. The Prophet, peace be upon him, is continually being unfolded. That mercy and what Allah Almighty addressed him and put in him as a mercy and speaks to him 24/7 is still going on. And so those people who grew up in that environment with the prophets and in the environment with beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Shaitan has tricked them to seek only the desires, and they have left that light and they've gotten further and further away from that light, and so they've gotten further and further into darkness. They're thinking he's dead. When they read the ayat, Allah says, those who die in the way of Allah are not dead. You just don't perceive it. Those are just righteous people. But the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that everyone, all the prophets took from his light before he was physically present. How is it that now that we still cannot take from his light when he's not physically present? Allah does as he will, as he likes. We can't know Allah Almighty except through creation, except through a human soul. And that's why He created. He says, I want to be known. Created creation for the sake of beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Allah Almighty was addressing all the prophets through that light of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Adam alayhi salam fell from felicity, Allah forgave him because he said, oh Allah, forgive me for the sake of beloved Muhammad. So how you knowing this? Allah knew, but he was teaching the angels. He says, oh Allah, you're writing on my right thumb and my left thumb, La ilaha illallah, and Muhammad Rasulullah on my left, and I'm seeing under your throne, over your throne, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. They too had to learn about themselves. And when they're learning about themselves, they learn about that one that they're taking their lights from. They could not be prophets if they were not giving their ultimate high respect to that one were drawing their light from. Allah Almighty addressed them through the prophet, peace be upon him.
Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar!
We don't know. That's why we don't have Islam through our hearts. We cannot spread Islam because we don't understand Islam. Those people who were in the Orient who received all of those prophets, and especially beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, gotten further and further away from that message. Now they are running to the West, thinking that the West is the best. But what are they running to? Dunya. To dunya. Look at this carefully. And then the people of the West, they're looking to the East for something of their hearts. They're so sick and tired of being so sick and tired because they're realizing that the material things are not giving them the satisfaction that they are hungering for. And so, like that hadith that Allah Almighty addressed to beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the latter days, the sun will be rising in the place that is setting. There is symbolic symbolism here. When the sun is rising in the east, rises, that means that all attention should be in that area, because that's where all the prophets came, through that area. That's where the light came from. That's where the guidance comes from. The sun is a sign. It means it's rising in the east. And it sets in the west, meaning that there's darkness, there's nothing. Who's thinking of this? Only through guidance can we even think. This is not in books, because the understanding of it is not in books, because Allah Almighty is still speaking to the prophet, peace be upon him. That conversation still goes on. That's why when we submit our will to Allah Almighty, Allah Almighty connects us to that conversation. And that conversation is ever present, evergreen. And so, because those people from the Orient, those people who were the family of the prophet, those people who were companions of the prophet, their descendants have turned to the west for milk and honey. You see them to come here, they have lost all humility, they've lost all decency. They sell us pork, they sell us wine, they're doing all kinds of abominations. They have left their religion. You only know them when they're with their wives. You don't even know them that they're Muslim unless they're with their wives. They see a turban, the first thing they attack. Why are you wearing it? What's that on your head? You know what the heck it is. It's the crown of the prophet. That's what it is. You don't know. You do know, but you don't want to know. Since Satan has cheated you, then misery likes company. They are frightened when they see those turbans, especially from Western people who are supposed to be in the belly of the beast. Yes. But wasn't Jonah in the belly of a whale and Allah made it paradise for him? Wasn't Abraham in that fire and Allah made it paradise for him? Wasn't Joseph in prison and Allah made it paradise for him? Because their hearts were in the east. Their hearts were in the place where the sun was rising. That light, that divine light coming from the east. Their hearts were connected to that light.